What is going on, guys? It's Reflex here, and it is 5 days until the worldwide release of Kingdom Hearts 3, and I had to be specific because technically at this time it is actually out in Japan and the reviews are in. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, do not click on any of the hashtags that's trending on Twitter because you will more than likely get spoiled. I clicked on it, but I didn't go searching or anything, and all I saw is a whole bunch of, review scores and all that, and on average I would say it's averaging around an 8.5, or maybe not even that. Maybe I would say like an 8.8 up to a 9.5. And at someone, I think a Dutch website, like a review site, actually rated it a 9.8. I want to see one just give it a 10 out of 10. Now, obviously, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. I think just me being a Kingdom Hearts fan, I want it to happen. But still, the reviews are looking a lot better than I thought they were going to be, just because the perception of Kingdom Hearts as a whole, when it comes to reviewers at least, because just think about this with Crash Bandicoot. A lot of the reviews of that game were calling it bad because it was too hard, and they were comparing it to Dark Souls, and that was like the majority of the reviews. So when it comes to this game, when you don't pay attention to the story and all that, and there was actual, I think it was Polygon that made a review, they pretty much said it didn't take place after Kingdom Hearts 2, all these spin-off convoluted stuff, and you could just tell they didn't play the other games, which that's completely their fault. And that was our whole entire point as a community when we were talking about, does Kingdom Hearts 3 have to be newcomer friendly? There's our first review that pretty much proves that you don't put the time in, you're not going to understand, and you can't blame the game for that. And obviously they don't have the exact, I would say, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. There's a certain word. They don't have the luxury. There we go. They don't have the luxury to use the memory archive that's in the game. I think that's going to be patched in day one, to where it's going to actually recap the whole entire story, I believe, which is cool. But the fact that they don't have that maybe would have changed their mind a little bit, would have helped. But overall, I mean, the review scores are really, really good. I mean, today's video is more about Nomura's interviews with Famitsu, and there's actually, I'm only going to say a couple things out of it, because there's a nice pieces of information. You guys can actually go read the whole entire article on KH Insider. They have all the whole entire interview pretty much, and there's a lot of neat stuff that he talks about. But the three things that I want to talk about is actually, the first off is going to be the epilogue. Now, they asked him like, what's the criteria for the epilogue or even the secret movie, and he says the epilogue will play right after the ending. If you download it the day after release on the 26th, you will be able to see it once you've cleared the game. The secret movie will be released on the 31st, and whether or not you'll be able to unlock it, it will be related to how many lucky marks you've taken pictures of. That's a collectible component where you go around taking pictures of marks that look like a silhouette of King Mickey using Sora's mobile portal, right? And then that's pretty much I don't know if it's the gummy phone that he's taking the picture with. I don't think anyone's confirmed that. I'm not trying to look it up, but yes, those little Mickey symbols that we've seen a long time ago, that was in Toy Box as well as Olympus, that are pretty much the skies, and there's a few throughout the world. There's actually some criteria, and that's the only bit of criteria to unlock the secret movie, so that's a lot easier this time around. But Nomura says how many you need to get depends on the degree of difficulty you select at the start of the game. On the easiest mode, beginner, you need all the marks. On standard and proud, you can miss a few. You can get by on proud mode with relatively few, but it's not all that strict on standard mode either, in my opinion. Then they ask, are there any other conditions, and Nomura says no, just the number of lucky marks you snap. This time I made it so people could see it without having to fulfill multiple conditions, which we know in previous games how it was. At least they kind of changed it in the final mix, but back in the day you had to do a whole bunch of stuff, like all these type of things, just to unlock the secret movie. But later on, you actually, all you had to do was complete it on like critical, and you'd unlock the secret movie. And if you didn't do it on critical, if you did it on standard, then it was like a kind of a list of things. But if you did it on beginner, I don't even think you can unlock it on beginner. I don't think so. I don't know. Either you had to do a whole bunch of stuff on beginner to unlock it, or you just couldn't unlock it at all. But then the next thing is talking about DLC. Now he says, moving on, I am interested in whether there will be any extra story or battles available as DLC after the release. And then Nomura says, right now staff are taking a break, and I can't speak of the details, which the whole entire staff of Kingdom Hearts 3 deserves a break. I mean, I haven't played the game yet, but obviously the way the reviews are going and what are people saying that already have the game, it seems like it's doing really well. And I mean, they deserve a break just for all the years that they really put into this game. And I mean, I'm pleased that they spent their time actually making this game, but they deserve a big vacation. But nothing has been decided, but if we do have paid DLC, I'm thinking about offering one piece with deep content rather than several fragments of things. Also, I'm considering some free downloadable content separate to that. Well, I'd rather prioritize the next game than work on DLC for a long period. So basically, long story short, he'd rather just drop a big update in the future for DLC that's, I guess, paid, but I mean, it's probably gonna be like, what, 20 bucks more than likely, but it's essentially gonna be the final mix version of the game. It's gonna be one big DLC drop, and that's it. Which is, hey, I mean, if they bring loads of content, whether it be, you know, more secret bosses or whatever it may be, that'll be awesome. I mean, I'd be happy with that personally, because I always liked it better when people do just one big slab of DLC and don't kind of prolong you like how Final Fantasy 15's doing. I mean, they're prolonging you. They had episode Gladio like months later, then it was episode Prompto, and then months later we had episode Ignis, and then I think almost like a year later we finally are getting episode Ardent. And that's not the way that I like to see DLCs be done, when it's just so long. Like, you paid for a season pass but you don't even get half the stuff for months, you know, and I mean, it's kind of frustrating. So I'm glad he's not doing it in that way, which he already confirmed long ago that he wasn't doing DLCs in that form of way, like the season pass version of it. But still, it's nice to hear him say it, you know, at this point in time. But then the final thing that we're taking from this, and this is actually going to pertain to the leaks, but he says also in the interview, Nomura was asked about the leak. According to him, only 4 copies leaked, but he expressed his disappointment in the situation. Because of what happened, the risks for a simultaneous worldwide release are high for any game that I work on henceforth. Currently, I cannot help but reconsider a simultaneous worldwide release, or at the very least the retail package version. Which a lot of people actually kind of got concerned with this, because it might take us back to the time where we actually got games that were like 7 months apart from Japan. And I mean, could you guys actually imagine? Japan gets it right now, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3, and we have to wait till like July to get the game. It's already hard enough we have to wait an extra 4 days. So could you imagine waiting an extra 7 months? I mean, and especially how Kingdom Hearts 3 is now with the dual audio, where if you get the Japanese version, it's only in Japanese. There's no English subtitles, no nothing. So could you imagine, you want to get it, you're going to risk getting it early, but you're not even going to understand a word of it. You're not going to have the same experience as you would the English version. So it kind of scares me the way it's worded, but also it also makes it sound that the physical copy is what may be, you know, delayed further, you know, like past the Japan's release, and then probably day one, you know, maybe we'll even get the same release as Japan on the digital version. I don't know if they'll do it like that, but at least that's the way he made it seem, but I'm not entirely sure. But still, there's loads of other information, but I really don't want to talk about gameplay aspects in that, because it's a very sensitive time now, considering Japan has the game. So I don't want to seem like I'm spoiling anything with the title of my video, so I want to keep it specifically about interviews and stuff. But man, the fact that the game's released, like it's actually out there now, and I mean, that's just crazy. And this journey has been nuts, but this is coming to an end. Like, these type of news videos, at least for Kingdom Hearts 3, is coming to an end. I mean, I don't know whether or not there'll be any more interviews or, you know, any ideas of like future DLCs that he'll be talking about in the future. But if there is, I'll obviously make videos about them. But as for news for Kingdom Hearts 3, we're like, these last 5 days, there's nothing after that. It's really like done. So I think after, at least post Kingdom Hearts 3, I'll probably move news videos over to Final Fantasy 7 Remake, as well as future games, whether it just be, I mean, I could just do videos on all sorts of games. I don't exactly know. Like I said, my future for my channel is very odd, because I was always a like kind of news video slash just gameplays and all this and that. So the fact that I went straight forward to like kind of news video only is kind of weird for me. But post Kingdom Hearts 3, that's the part that I'm just like, okay, where do I go after this? But we'll find out. But if you guys did enjoy this video, if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and you guys know the drill. I will see you guys later.